Welcome back to the channel. I'm Peter Mokri, a Dallas-based DP, photographer, gaffer with a 1-ton grip van full of Aputure lighting. I am available for hire. So we're loading up, getting prepped the day before for a 2-day shoot. We actually got caught in a little bit of a storm, but we're getting ready to capture some home goods, decor, and furniture. So we're unloading here at the space. It's Blank Cowork Space Studio in Fort Worth, Texas, and the alarm was going off. We did have permission to be here. We were supposed to be shooting, but we triggered the alarm somehow. We were told to just carry on, and they'd get it taken care of for us, and soon enough it was turned off. So it looks like we're loading a lot of equipment, but we put everything pretty much on 2 carts for the most part, pulling them right into the space, and we're going to work off of these 2 carts and a few other things to make ourselves more efficient. We will be utilizing a lot of the spaces in this studio. We rented out the whole center area as well as the kitchen area. We have Trey over here and Jeremy that are going to be providing G&E help throughout the shoot. This is kind of the shots we're going for. We're going for living spaces that you can actually see a lot of the products that they have, whether it's a table, a lamp, the pillows, the artwork. All of those things are elements that the client provided, and we're capturing those set up. So they're setting up the spaces with their designers, and we're capturing shots. I opted for using a slider to get continuous movements that are repetitive. Here we have our big key source going through a rag, and this is actually a 600D right now. It's a little darker space. We don't need the 1200, and we have it coming in from one direction. It's mimicking a big light source. Think of a big bay window or just a big window in general in the space, and it's shooting the light through, creating that nice, beautiful lighting. But with this setup, I want it to be consistent. This slider is actually doing one full movement, takes a minute from one side to the other. It's amazing what it looks like. It's nice and slow. And in the same space, we brought in a table to show it off and the elements. These things are repeatable movements. They're taking about a minute to go through the full movement. And what's great is if that's too slow, we can always speed it up because there's nothing else moving in the shot, so you won't see that movement. Repetition, 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 some tights, some wides, and you can see that it's such a subtle movement. Trey over here helped up with the framing, got us going, and it just looks really great.
Sometimes you'll do something and then like the thing is here in the place and you think that those two things like correlated. Yeah. Like as soon as I plugged in that light, he dropped the stand and I'm like, did I just like trip something? Like did something just blow in there like already?
So what are we doing, Trey?
There's 3 lights, the 1200 and 2 600s, and we're just gonna blast them through this garage door and make it look like nice. It's pretty sunlight through a window. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so all 3 of them are on different circuits. So one's coming from the front office to the front door over there. Another one's coming straight through the kitchen. And then I think it's the 1200 is coming through outside of the kitchen.
All right, so why do we do that?
Because you don't want to blow stuff and catch fires. It'd be tragic. It's the last thing you want to do.
So lighting set up, it looks amazing, but guess what? The Monstera plant right there giving us trouble. It was way oversized for the pot that it was in, so we had to kind of come in and figure something out. What we ended up doing is putting in a Mathellini clamp and a few other grip bits to kind of fix it. It was kind of tipping and moving throughout the shots here and there. We made sure to get a clean shot without it moving, and it worked out in the end. You kind of have to just improvise. So this shot looks amazing. I love how the light's hitting the plant. It's hitting the ground, looking really nice. Yes, we do have sun coming in from another direction as well, but we thought of it in downtown. You're going to have buildings and reflections, and it's going to look great either way. So the client was satisfied with it. We had to make sure we get the right angles to showcase the right elements here. And what was really important is just the consistency of the slider. We could always speed things up, but we can't change things if we go too fast because we weren't shooting at a high frame rate because we didn't need to. So here's another look, kind of changed things up. The couches changed, the chairs changed, and we just rocked it out. This is a little bit tighter look, but you could still see that parallaxing move from the slider makes it amazing. So we have the guys cleaning up here. They're tearing everything down. We had 3 lights outside as you saw earlier. So we're wrapping up this area. And what's really great about this space is we could clear it out fairly quickly and move on to another spot. Let's talk camera. We're using the Sony FX6 with a Sigma 24-70 f2.8 lens. We are running the Rhino slider, which is the version 1 arc system. You can see it's actually parallaxing as well, which means it's panning left to right as well as sliding. So you have 2 points of movement. And then it's a tilt-a-cage with a V-mount battery set up on it. And then we have time code. On this shot, we really had to balance the light. It looks really cool right now, but it just was too dark and didn't feel right. So we did the big large source from one side and it filled it up really nice and actually popped really well and had a beautiful look to it. You can see right here that they're creating shadows from the side, but also you're getting shadows from the lights themselves and the different elements that are on the shelf. So it worked out really well. We were ramping up for the holiday season with some of these shots, so we had to have a fireplace and a cozy spot. We did have a skylight that we had no control over. We could have blocked it off flat up, but we were able to just take the floppy up like Trey did there and block off most of the spill that was coming in from it. Outside, we did introduce a 1200D running through some CTB, full to give a nice blue cast in here. And then also we had 300D right here shooting up into a ultra bounce, creating a nice warm CTO look to it. So we had a tungsten feel to it. So we had the blue moonlight coming in and then we had the tungsten as well. And there's that skylight, the pesky skylight. But we were able to mold the scene and actually shape it where it looked really nice. So it gave us the look. I also added a couple MCs to give us a little more pop of orange to kind of exaggerate that fireplace, set them to fire, and they were flickering down on the rug that you see right there, the white one. So it actually looked really cool. It was very stylized and almost gimmicky, but it had a great feel and the client loved it, so we went with it. It doesn't always have to be super realistic. So there's a 1200D outside. Part of the day, aside from video, was photos. We intertwined the day with photos and video, and in some areas we were doing photos, some areas we were doing video. So here we have a top-down setup to showcase this chair, some of the elements around the rug and things like that, but also had an angle from the side. We used the diffusion here, which was an 8x. We used this throughout the day, was either quarter grid, half grid, or full grid on a T-post setup on a rolling stand so we could move around quickly. We have it bagged and ready to go. And this is the look it was giving us in the photos. We kind of had it at an angle, shooting it across, and it looked beautiful. And then you see the top-down shots as well. We were running 2 MacBook Pros, wirelessly tethered. It took a little bit of time to kind of fly through the airwaves and get to the actual computers, but we were able to see both on the screens for the client to give us approval because I used a black magic switcher from the computers to show the screen. You see our top-down setup, which is an Avenger boom arm, and it gives us that nice top-down look with a lot of room to spare and a lot of control of the camera from the computers. I want to give a big shout out to Trey and Jeremy for handling all the heavy lifting when it came to this shoot, and also want to give a shout out to my wife. She was there for pre-production, the shoot itself, and post-production. All the editing was done by her. Huge shout out to her for coordinating with the client and making sure our client was satisfied from beginning to end. What do you guys think? Would you have done things differently? Comment down below and let me know your input. I appreciate all the feedback you guys give me, and thank you so much for watching and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot and it keeps me going and pumping out great content.